Welcome back to Mac's Garage. If you like what you see here today, as always, hit the like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever else helps the algorithm to put this video out to more people. I'd really appreciate that. So today I'm going to be preparing this 1983 Dodge Ramcharger to do a little bit of mud racing. So there's a local mud racing event. It's Dafter Lions mud racing. That's what it says on the poster anyway. There are multiple different classes for that. This vehicle is going to fit nicely into the street stock class, which allows up to a 37-inch tire at the time of making this video. So I'm going to take these little 31s off and run a set of 36 1250s in the front, and then a set of 35 1450 boggers in the rear. I anticipate some problems with fitment. This thing only has a 2-inch lift. 36s on a 2-inch lift is kind of pushing it. However, with the mud racing, you don't necessarily need as much clearance as you would for a full-bore off-road rig. The reality is that if you turn your wheel very far, you lost. And the pit is more or less, it's bouncy and whatever, but one, the wheel should be straight ahead, and two, it's less movement than rock racing. So I'm going to get this up. First thing I'm going to do is unbolt the 31s, bolt the 36s on, and I think they will sit in here at ride height. There's just not going to be room to turn. So we'll start there. Okay, so this is now sitting on its own weight. The hoist is still up, but it's not touching the truck anymore. SUV, wagon, whatever you want to call it. And as you can see, going straight ahead, there are no issues. However, if I turn it, it would not touch on just normal street driving, but if we hit a bump right now, we're going to catch this fender here. In the back, kind of the same deal. It looks like it would actually clear. There gets to be more clearance as it goes in farther, but it's very, very close, and if you hit a bump, it's going to touch. So I'm going to make some marks. We'll cut this out. These fenders are not real nice, so I have no problem cutting them up. I do have a 4-inch lift kit upstairs for this, but I can't even put into words how much I don't want to do that right now. So I'm going to get some masking tape out. We'll mask this off. These fenders they're not terrible, but they're not that nice, so I don't have a problem hacking them up. I'll make some lines and we'll sawzall them out. The front should be relatively easy, so I'm going to try it out first, see where I get here. I'm going to start from the bottom because it's going to be hard to go into the lip area here. You could also use a cutoff wheel, and depending on how this goes, maybe that's what I'll end up doing. But I'm going to try the Sawzall first. Okay, peel some fiberglass off, cut this back a little different. Okay. So like I said before, these fenders are not real nice. This fiberglass over rust is painted, so I'm going to try to leave it on there, but it has no real bearing on the fender. I could possibly radius this up a little bit more if I need to, so let's take a look. Alright, so right here, the tire is turned. Basically, this is going to be as close to this fender lip as we can get. And I have a solid fist worth of room there. I'll probably take a hammer and kind of round this lip a little bit. All the tires will be running forward, so that's not as critical here as it will be in the back. So I'm out of tape. I need to go, actually I'll just use duct tape. Alright, so let's check out the back here. Actually the back, I'm going to pick this up in the air, I think, and mark it with it on the ground, then we'll pick it up. Out of masking tape, so we're gonna switch to duct tape. I shouldn't say that I'm out. I know there's another roll around here somewhere, I just don't remember where I put it. So we're gonna kind of eyeball this up a little bit. The fender well, or the body of the truck, starts kind of right here, the floor pan. So we really can't go right about there is as far as we're gonna be able to trim without getting into the actual body work of the truck. So I'm going to try to open this up pretty good without destroying the actual structure of the truck itself. Actually, there's an inner panel here I don't really want to get into either, and that should be probably pretty doable. So we'll take this up in the air, kind of get a look. The front side is really easy. There's more going on in this back. What is this? Yep, vacuum hose for the brake booster. Didn't know that was missing, but I found it. Alright, so we've got an inner fender which really isn't hooked up on this one. You can probably see that flopping. That'll have to get tied back. I think there's a bolt right here that would hold this up to it. So we're going to try to kind of go from there, and then the fender mount structure on the cab itself starts right about here. So I'm actually going to bring my Sawzall in, and I'm basically going to start cutting this fender out to the edge as far back as I can without damaging the body of the truck, which is right here. Yeah. Okay. So as I come forward, I'm going to shoot for this spot right here. Look, more fiberglass. Yay. Okay. Anything else up in here I need to be worried about? No, not really. Okay. Alright, so that made a lot more room there on the outer fender. Now the inner fender is going to be in the way, but I think we can tuck that back. In fact, it is rounded here, so if we can, we're going to try to find the bolt that fits that piece right there. Oh look, this is probably one. Now at the point where you can kind of see the fender liner follows where the fender used to be. And this cut is where the fender now is. So this cavity back in here goes back to the door, so I'd like to keep this inner fender as functional as I can. I am not good at metal work. I have an idea what needs to happen here, but I'm not the guy to make something like that actually a reality. So I'm going to do my best with just pliers and hammers. I know one of the things I'm going to have to do is this has an edge that curls back and loops under. I know I'm going to have to straighten that down in order to get the flexibility out of this to reshape it. Okay. And if I do this really nice, I might even get it to come back and hook underneath there, but I don't think that's going to happen. Now the next part is I want it to kind of bend here and follow the cut in the fender. And if you look at the, which you can't see at that angle, but it actually kind of curls and kind of, it goes back in, levels out, and then comes across. So I need to figure out a way to get it to fold at that point. And realistically, what I probably need to do is bring this center part forward, which will allow it to be more flexible. So let's see what I can come up with. I'm going to go ahead. I thought I had some angle iron, but I've got this pretty heavy bar stock here. If it fits, it does. Cool. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to cut this inner fender a little bit to allow it to move. And then, for right now, I'll probably just tape it, and then if that seems to work, maybe I'll get some sheet steel and rivet it in there, screw it, or something like that. Okay, so that cut back a little ways. Maybe a block of wood. So if you're looking for like the right way to make something look nice, this is not your guide. But if you're looking to quick and dirty trim on on a set of fenders you don't really care about, maybe you can do something like this. All right, that actually wedged up in there. It seems pretty good, right about where I want it. So now I have a backing to hit against. Probably see from that angle this is starting to come back. Need to take a little bit of the contour out of the center. This block of wood is turning out to be my friend on this video. No, not wanting to go there. Dude, that's not perfect, but that's gonna work. So, I'm gonna make a little mark there, I'm gonna trim it, and I think I can screw it back to the fender. Now this lower ridge here on the fender, actually, oh yeah, right there. Okay, so I need to put another little slice in it. Yep, right there. Okay, let's see here. Little self-tapper action. Okay, I'm gonna slam a self-tapper in there to hold this conglomeration backwards. Boy, that's not a real straight cut, but it'll look good enough from 100 feet away. And you can see here at full droop, we've got more than a fistful of room between it. And I don't think it changes drastically. I'm gonna do the other side, not on camera, but I'm just gonna do the other side before I drop it down. Then we'll drop it down and look at clearance. While I was doing the other side, I had a realization, and that is that the piece I cut off of this fender, which I've already started trimming on this one, actually fits back in and at least somewhat finishes that edge. So I'm just going to take some self-tappers. I've got this pretty well fitted. I wish I would have done a little bit nicer job cutting it off the first place, but I didn't know I was going to use it for this. So make do with what I've got. I've got a pretty good purchase right there for a self-tapper, and then down here is actually all pretty solid. So just go ahead and that's obviously, well, maybe not obvious from where you're at. There's a lot of filler in this spot. And honestly, if a guy really wanted to, he could probably go through and spackle that back in and make it look pretty good. But for right now, I'm just going to try to get these fenders to fit pretty nice. So we're going to call that good. And I'm not real worried about the front end. I'm more worried about the back. So I'm going to angle this tire where it's closer to this edge. Grab a block of wood. Now this is roughly 8 inches, which is not a great articulation yet, but it's better than nothing. So I'm going to set that down there. Lower the truck down. Chances are this is going to make the thing kind of shift on the hoist, so I'll have to reset it after this. But we'll see how close the fender is. Alright, so there we are. It does have a little bit more up travel in the suspension, but the reality is that we are pretty much, let's see if I can bring it back a little bit. Yeah, we are at about the closest point that tire can get to the fender, and I still have enough room to put a hand in there. So I think that's probably pretty good. Yeah, that'll do. Is there a chance that I could bounce this thing real hard and maybe actually make contact? Yeah, I suppose. But I would have to have the wheel turned just wrong and hit just a big enough bump to do it. So I'm not super worried. That's going to be it for this video. I just got 36 1250 TSLs to fit on the front of a Ramcharger with a 2-inch lift with nothing more than a little bit of Sawzall action. And as you can see, I didn't even go real wild with that. If you're going to do some extreme off-roading and get into rocks and things where you really twist the truck out, maybe this won't be enough, but it should be pretty good. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe, like, share, comment, all that stuff, please do it. It helps me out. And that's it. I'll see you later.